Hi, kindergartners. This is your reading lesson for this week. This week, I'm going to ask you guys to do 3 things this week. The first one is going to be to practice your popcorn words. Last week, Mrs. Smith made you a video of your popcorn words, and I asked you guys to see how quickly you could read those words. Well, I've done the same thing this week, okay? But I've gotten tricky, and I've mixed up the cards, so they're in a different order. And I want to see if you guys can continue to read those words as quickly as you can this week as well. So that video is also going to be attached to this lesson. The next thing that I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to practice your sound cards. We know that in kindergarten, our sound cards are very important, and they're also very important in first grade as well. So we want to make sure that we continue to practice these cards. Even though we're not in school, we still want to practice them. So what Mrs. Smith has done is I have attached a video of our sound cards. It's going to show you one sound card at a time, and I want you to practice reading the sound card with the video. Okay? And then our third thing that we're going to be working on this week are our digraph cards. Now this is something your class may not have gotten finished with because we had to end our school year early. Okay? So we have our digraph cards down here at the bottom of my chart. And I also am going to include a video, and it's going to practice reading the sound cards with you. So in case you did not get to all the digraph cards, you will know how to read the word or the digraph card correctly. Okay? So along with this, I'm going to give you little activities that I want you to do as you are practicing your sound cards, or when you're practicing your digraph cards, or when you're practicing those popcorn word cards. Okay? With your popcorn word cards, there's a couple things that you could do. You could practice writing your popcorn words on paper. You could use chalk. You can use Play-Doh if you have Play-Doh at home, and you can practice making those words as well. You can also write stories, which I know lots of you guys have been doing because you've been sharing those with us. You can use some of those popcorn words in your sentences to go along with your pictures that you are making. With your letter cards, what you can do with that is you can ask maybe a brother or sister, grandma or grandpa, or maybe even mom and dad, okay? Maybe they say a letter and you have to write that letter, or you have to produce the sound that that letter makes. Now, I do want you to practice your letter making, but remember when you are making those letter cards, or when you're making those letters, please make sure that you are making those letters the correct way. If you remember in kindergarten, we had writing paper, and we would have the sky line, the plane line, the grass line, and the worm line. And you knew how to use those lines to help you form those letters. So make sure that when you're writing those letters, that you are making those letters the correct way. So maybe you have your parents help you, and they come up with that, and they come say a letter, and you have to practice writing that letter. Or maybe they say the sound, and you have to try to think about which letter makes that sound, and you practice writing that with chalk, or making it with Play-Doh, or writing it on a piece of paper. Okay? And then the third thing that I want you to do is practicing with your digraphs. Okay? Practice reading those sound cards. Use that video to help you read those sound cards. But then also I challenge you to try to come up with words that have those digraphs in them. Okay? So, like the sound card, S-H, ship, sh. When I think of that digraph, I think of the word shoe. So what I could do is I could try to write that word. If you don't know how to write the word, ask someone to help you. And then make a list of all these words that you can come up with that have a digraph, and see how many you can get for each digraph. Okay? So those are my things I'm going to ask you guys to do this week. The 3 things. So remember, I want you to practice your popcorn words. Okay? I want you to practice reading your sound cards, and I also want you to practice reading those digraph cards as well. So those are all things that are going to help you guys to get ready for first grade. And something that I want you guys to make sure that you do every day is continue to read. Okay? Make sure you have someone, you can read with someone. You can have someone read to you. Maybe grandma or grandpa or mom or dad or brother or sister. Okay? You could read them a story. They can read you a story. But try to read every day, because that's also going to help you get ready for first grade as well. Well, I can't wait to see some of the great things that you do with this as you're practicing this reading lesson this week. I hope you also take time to enjoy the beautiful weather. It's going to be a great week weather-wise, so I hope you are able to get outside and play this week too. So again, be awesome, practice those sound cards, practice those digraphs, practice those popcorn words, but also have lots of fun, and I'll see you next week. Bye.